ex-officer Robert Devine scandal. Now, this guy may look familiar to you. He is an officer who preyed and groomed Sandra Birchmore. And he had a scandal back in 2014 that we are going to go over. And I want you to stay tuned till the end because there is a twist, and my thoughts on it are something you're probably not going to want to miss. So please listen to the whole video and then give your comments below because this is the crazy train. Let's dive in. So, in talking about Robert Devine, a police officer that was with Stoughton, he ran the Police Explorers program that Sandra Birchmore was a part of. He is one of the sick people that was grooming Sandra Birchmore. And we're going to go back to December 3rd, 2014 in this investigation of Robert Devine. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of State Police, Norfolk District Attorney's Office. To Detective Lieutenant Kevin Shea from Trooper Sean Quirk, and it lists the case number. And it says, on Wednesday, November 12th, 2014, I, Trooper Sean J. Quirk, was assigned to investigate an alleged violation of a criminal harassment order. The harassment order was granted on October 3rd, 2014 by the Norfolk Superior Court against Tiffany Overstreet. The plaintiffs of the order are Robert and Lisa Devine. The order had an original expiration date of October 9th, 2014, but was extended through October 23rd, 2014. On October 20th, 2014, flowers were delivered to Lisa Devine at her residence. The message accompanied the flowers stated, redacted. An investigation revealed that the order was placed by blank. The order information came from the result of an administrative subpoena submitted to ftd.com by Officer Sandra Barrett. Robert advised blank is a friend of Overstreet. Robert reported the incident to the Stoughton Police, where Robert is the deputy chief. Officer Sandra Barrett took the report, and Chief Shastani was made aware of the situation. On Saturday, November 15, 2014, I spoke with Robert. He reported the harassment order was sought because of ongoing harassment from Overstreet. Affidavit was attached. He stated since the order was granted, he has been receiving phone calls on his personal cell phone, blank, and emails from unknown numbers at all times of the day and night. Some of the calls and messages were reported to be threatening in nature. Robert advised that he searched the phone numbers and emails addresses on the internet and found that most come back to a website called bandwidth.com. Robert provided me a copy of the response he received from bandwidth.com's legal division. Bandwidth.com advised the numbers he requested were provided to a wholesale customer, Inflick Inc., and therefore legal service will need to be sent to that company. Inflick Inc. provides free application called Text Now that allows a person to disguise their true number or email address. 5. Robert also stated that the password for his Comcast account has been changed today, November 15, 2014, but he had not requested a change. He stated that his inbox folder, sent folder, and contacts were all deleted. He said he found 2 deleted emails in the trash bin of his account. At this point, he had then changed the username to his account. He further stated that there have been previous attempts to gain access to their accounts. Robert's Comcast account, Robert's Yahoo account, and Lisa's Pinterest account. Robert stated that no one has his passwords. I asked Robert if Overstreet attempted to access his accounts, would she know the answers to his security passwords, and he stated yes, probably. Okay. Well, first, as a police officer, maybe don't let people know that stuff. Just saying. On Sunday, November 16th, 2014, Robert contacted me to inform me that he received a message indicating that an email from his Comcast account failed to be delivered. He stated he had not tried to send a message. When he accessed his account, he found the messages that was returned. He said it appeared to be from his account and was addressed to his cell phone number. The error message returned showing an IP address of blank. That uses ATT as a service provider. Robert said he states that he uses Verizon as his service provider. There is an indication on return receipt that the message may have come from www.textum.net. He also informed me that last night he received more text from unknown numbers. A copy of the return message is attached. On November 25th, 2014, I submitted an administrative subpoena to AT&T. On Monday, November 17th, 2014, at approximately 0700 hours, I went to Stoughton PD and met with Robert. During our meeting, he spoke about his relationship with his wife and how he met Overstreet. He stated that last fall he and his wife Lisa were considering separating. Around this time, he became involved with Overstreet and things progressed. So he has a restraining order against this Overstreet person that he initially had an affair with. Let's continue reading. So he had started seeing her, and it ended up turning into more of a serious relationship. He advised that Overstreet's attitude toward him changed. She turned threatening and abusive. Robert stated that as the next summer approached, he and his wife decided to reconcile their marriage. He wanted to end the relationship he had with Overstreet. He stated Overstreet wished to continue a relationship with him and did not want things to go back to his wife. She made threats of committing unaliving if he abandoned her. From this time until the issuance of the order, there have been numerous instances of harassing text messages, some of which were threatening, and phone calls from unknown members. On Thursday, November 20th, 2014, Robert contacted me to inform me that his Google account password had been changed without his knowledge. He was able to provide a screenshot of the message. So he screenshots the Google verification, Google account, and all of that. He also informed me that some of his family friends received an email containing pictures of Overstreet and himself. So pictures of Overstreet and Robert Devine from the email account blank. On November 25th, 2014, I sent the administrative subpoena to Google. Robert said that he plugged the name into Twitter and found a Twitter page containing many pictures of a nude woman, although the woman's head is not visible. Robert identified the woman as Overstreet. Okay, Overstreet, let's not be posting things like that on the Twitter. Think more of yourself. He stated the email and the Twitter handle blank are not known to him. On November 21st, 2014, I sent Twitter a preservation order for the preservation of the consent. As of date of this report, the page has been removed. Well, I'm glad that was taken down. On Wednesday, November 25th, 2014, Robert contacted me and informed me that another email was sent. He stated his email contained more pictures of he and Overstreet and was sent to coworkers and their spouses. Maybe don't take a bunch of pictures together if you're having an affair. Just don't have an affair. That'll work too. He stated that some of the pictures were graphic and they came from Overstreet's email account that was allegedly accessed by an unknown individual. The email was reported to come from blank, and then a whole thing is redacted here. On December 2nd, 2014, Robert contacted me regarding information he received from Comcast, his internet service provider. Comcast provided him with his account access logs and associated IP addresses from September 26, 2014 through November 15, 2014 that showed numerous bad password statuses which could indicate that someone tried to access his account. Some of the attempts were successful, which could indicate that someone actually accessed his account. Blank. Robert also received the same data for a second account, blank, which he changed after he believed the first account was accessed. November 15, 2014 through November 16, 2014. Then on December 2nd, 2014, I sent administrative subpoenas to Comcast and WDSPC because they are the service provider of the IP addresses that may have attempted access to the account, and it is respectfully submitted by Trooper Sean Quirk, Massachusetts State Police of the Norfolk County DA's office. All right, the next one is to Lieutenant Kevin Shea from Trooper Sean Quirk again. This has to do with the arrest warrant for Tiffany Overstreet and the case number. On Wednesday, November 12th, 2014, Trooper Sean J. Quirk, was assigned to investigate an alleged violation of criminal harassment order. The following is based on harassment orders that were granted on October 3rd, 2014 by the Norfolk Superior Court against Tiffany Overstreet. The order had an original expiration date of October 9th, 2014, but was extended through October 23rd, 2014. And then on October 23rd, 2014, the order was continued until November 4th, 2014, but was later changed to November 13th, 2014. Then November 14th, 2014 came around. All parties agreed to an extended harassment orders until January 15th, 2015. So I don't really understand why the harassment order just gets extended like by weeks or days, even months. So that's interesting that it just keeps getting extended and extended, but it's not for big periods of time, just a little bit. So I wonder why the restraining order is or the harassment order is just short-lived. On October 20th, 2014, the flowers were delivered to the victim at her residence, address withheld, Stoughton, Mass. It was accompanied. Okay, so we read that part before. Okay. So some of this is what we've kind of gone over and repeating. So we'll kind of skim that part, but we'll go over the new parts that are in this. So it talks about the investigation received, that the order was placed by blank and came as a result of administrative subpoena submitted to the FTD.com, issued by Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. The victim advised that blank is a friend of Overstreet. The victim reported the incident to Stoughton Police, where the victim works, and they are referring to the victim as Robert Devine in this. Officer Sandra Barrett took the report and the chief was made aware of the situation. On Saturday, November 15, 2014, I spoke with the victim. He reported the harassment order was sought because of ongoing harassment from Overstreet. He stated since the order was granted, he had been receiving phone calls on his personal cell and emails. They searched with them, they go back to a bandwidth.com and the Inflict Incorporated that they needed to go to, and the Text Now disguising phone numbers. One message came from Blank, and a search of his email, this email address showed it came from Pinger Incorporated. Pinger Incorporated is also a website that allows a person to disguise their email address. So this person is using multiple different ways and apps and websites to disguise who they are to contact a person. The message appears to contain a screenshot of messages between Overstreet and a third party. It appeared that the third party sent the message from the above-mentioned address to the victim. Due to the anonymity of the third party and the potential violation of the harassment order, the Norfolk District Attorney's Office issued an administrative subpoena to Pinger Incorporated. So lots of subpoenas going out during this. The victim also stated that the passwords for his Comcast account had changed today as 11/15/2014, but he had not requested a change. So that was where his stuff was deleted, and it talks about the usernames and his Yahoo account, his wife's Pinterest account. Username is withheld. No one else had the passwords, and this person would probably know the answers to the security questions for the passwords. The answers to it. And then on Sunday, November 16th, 2014, the victim contacted me to inform me that he received a message indicating that an email from his Comcast account, username withheld, at comcast.net failed to be delivered, which we talked about that, to a phone number, that the error message, this is where they talk about the IP address was associated with an AT&T provider, but Devine uses Verizon. And this may have come from Textum.net. The 0700 hours on November 17th, 2014. Went to Stoughton PD to meet the victim. During our meeting, he spoke about his relationship with his wife and how he met Overstreet. He stated that in the fall of 2013, he and his wife were considering separating. Around this time, he became involved with Overstreet and things progressed into a more serious relationship. He advised that Overstreet's attitude towards him changed. She turned threatening and abusive. Well, she might not like her feelings being played with. Maybe you told her you would be with her and not with your wife. The victim stated that as the summer of 2014 approached, he and his wife decided to reconcile their marriage. He wanted to end the relationship with Overstreet. He stated Overstreet wished to continue the relationship with him and did not want him to go back to his wife. Yeah, most girls, if you're dating somebody, want the guy to stay with them. This way you shouldn't have affairs. He's that Overstreet made threats of unaliving if he abandoned her. From this time until the issuance of the order, there have been numerous instances of harassing text messages, some of which were threatening, and phone calls from unknown numbers. On Thursday, November 20th, 2014, the victim contacted me informing me his Google account password had been changed without his knowledge. He was able to provide a screenshot of the message. Devine, you have messed with the wrong girl. in this. She is not happy that you decided to have an affair with her. You say, well, we were going to separate, or we were separated, or we were thinking about separating, whatever. You're still married. Um, and this girl was like, okay, you want to go back to your wife? You want to discard me like trash? I am going to let the whole world know about this affair that you probably wanted to keep hush hush. No, I'm going to blow this whole thing up. And that is what has happened here, it seems like. Um, and he also informed me that some of his family friends received emails containing pictures of Overstreet and himself from an email address. They subpoenaed Google for that. They talked about the Twitter pictures of a nude woman with the woman's head was not visible. The victim is to be believed to be Overstreet. He stated the email address and Twitter handle are not known to him. They sent a preservation order. Page was removed. We went over that. And Wednesday, November 25th, 2014, the victim contacted me and informed me another email was sent. He stated his email contained more pictures of he and Overstreet, sent them to coworkers and their spouses. He stated some of the pictures were graphic and they came from Overstreet's email address that was allegedly accessed by an unknown individual. He provided me with a screen capture of the images, which I have viewed. The email was reported to come from blank and blank. Then there's a footnote. Computers on the internet identify each by the Internet Protocol or IP address. IP addresses can assist law enforcement in finding a particular computer on the internet. IP addresses can typically lead the law enforcement officer to a particular internet service company, and that company can typically identify the account that use the IP address to access the internet. Yeah, the IP addresses be telling on people. On December 2nd, 2014, the victim contacted me regarding information he received from Comcast, his internet service provider. Comcast provided him with his account access logs. And then this is where they talked about, the bad passwords that were attempted to be used, but there was some that were successful. They issued a subpoena to that and WDSPC. We talked about that. And Comcast. Okay, now on Thursday, December 4th, 2014, Pinger Inc. or Incorporated responded to the administrative subpoena. Pinger customer support representative Chris Denault provided account information for the username blank. The name on the account was blank. This account was created on November 16th, 2014, and was only used that one day. There was no further activity on the account. He was also able to provide the IP address, which is listed, for the computer that was used to create the account. A check of the IP address revealed it belonged to Comcast. And they issued a subpoena to Comcast, which they've done already. So maybe they issued another one asking for something else. On Monday, December 8th, 2014, WDSPC responded to the administrative subpoena issued on December 2nd, 2014. The email from WDSPC help desk stated that they do not have any end user information because they lease IP addresses to several wireless data companies. They informed us the end user information that may exist would be provided by AT&T Wireless. The Norfolk District Attorney's Office issued an administrative subpoena to AT&T Wireless. So the Norfolk DA's office is having to do a lot of computer work because of all this. because of the scandalous affair. On Monday, December 8th, 2014, Comcast Legal Response Center responded to the administrative subpoena. The correspondence revealed that the subscriber for the IP address, which was listed above in 14, referenced, well, it says referenced above, as Tiffany Overstreet of blank. The victim believed that there had been previous attempts to access his Comcast email because he had received notifications from Comcast stating his password had been changed. This is talking about the good and the bad password. I don't know why they're talking about that one particularly again, because they talked about that in 13. Oh, well, these are, okay. No, they're for the same time period. So I don't know why they're listing it in 13 and 17. But they have like all the dates. 9/26/14 at 12:17:47 a.m. through November 15th, 2014 at 8:51:57 p.m. and a late 11/15/14 at 8:54:59 p.m. through 11/16/14 at 9:54:49 p.m. respectively. The log showed time, date, IP address, email account, username, and authorization status. The IP address, which came back to Overstreet, was recorded by Comcast as making 4 successful attempts accessing the victim's email account. Username withheld. Those attempts were recorded as follows. On November 11th, 2014, it was tried twice at 11:01:22 a.m. and 11:12:24 a.m. And then again on November 15th, 2014, it was done twice at 11:05:58 a.m. and 11:07:42 a.m. On Tuesday, December 9th, 2014, while further reviewing the victim's email access log for his Comcast account, username withheld at comcast.net, I observed the account was accessed on November 15th, 2014, with an IP address that's different from the one that's listed. Made 3 successful attempts between 8:54 and 8:55. Devine says he did not send it. Norfolk District Attorney's Office issued an administrative subpoena to Comcast once again. There have been numerous instances during the time period in which account access were logged for 2 more different IP addresses. After a conversation with Lieutenant David McSweeney, he informed me that the series of IP addresses may indicate that the user was in a public place or at a business and the IP addresses were randomly assigned. The Norfolk District Attorney's Office issued an administrative subpoena to Comcast. So Comcast keeps getting tons of subpoenas from Norfolk County District Attorney's Office with this scandal. Then we go into March 19th, 2015. This is still sent to Detective Lieutenant Kevin Shea from Trooper Sean Quirk. This is about the meeting with Robert and Lisa Devine in this case. And it says, on Wednesday, March 11th, 2015 at 1600 hours, Lieutenant David McSweeney, Attorney Kevin Mullen, and I, Trooper Sean Quirk, met at Attorney Timothy Burke's office in Needham. The purpose of the meeting was to meet with Robert and Lisa Devine regarding their intentions going forward on the open case against Tiffany Overstreet. With Attorney Burke present, we met with Robert and Lisa Devine separately. They both stated they no longer wanted to go forward with this case against Tiffany Overstreet and they wanted to move forward with their lives. So now they want to drop this case with everything happening which is interesting because why? Like, if this lady is causing so much havoc in your lives, then why do you want to all of a sudden drop it now? Like, is it just too much? You just want it to all go away? You're tired of dealing with it? Has she backed off? Like, what do we have here? That you and your wife are just like, yeah, just, we're done with her. Like, she can keep doing whatever. Seems odd. 3, I showed the Devines pictures that were located on one of Overstreet's phones. These photos caused concern because one was taken at their daughter's school and others were Devine family pictures. Robert stated that the photo from the school was taken by his wife. Lisa confirmed the same. Asked if they were concerned that the pictures were on her phone. They both thought her having them on her phone was creepy, but were not concerned otherwise. So, y'all don't like that she has this stuff on her phone, but you have decided that this person is no longer a threat to you. Like, she was just able to pull pictures. I mean, maybe she got them off of Facebook or something. I don't know. Um, but why does this girl have pictures that were taken by his wife? Did she share those to Facebook? Did the daughter share them to social media and that's how she got them? How is this person getting these things? And it sounds like they were like, I know you said you wanted to move forward and drop this, but this is stuff that we are continuing to find on her. Hmm. When I went into reading this, this is not what I expected because I do not like Robert Devine for the grooming that he did with Sandra Birchmore. And I don't think we have the full story about what's going on in these. It's a crazy affair scandal within a police department. And Norfolk County District Attorney's Office is having to use a lot of resources in this case. So let's go on to the next one. Okay. So we're going to go back in time just a bit because the last thing that we read was from March 2015. Now we're going to go back to December 18th, 2014. Should have put these in order, but I didn't. Um, so it talks about, the harassment prevention order, talks about the flowers with the message. Um, talks about Inflict Incorporated, bandwidth, Pinger, which we already know about, talks about the Comcast and his email things being deleted, and the Pinterest account, Yahoo account, failed delivery of a message that he said he didn't send. This is the same stuff. Feel free to pause if you want to read this, even though we've already gone over all these things. The textum.net, the screenshot of the Google verification. Okay, this one says he also informed me that some of his family and friends received an email containing pictures of Overstreet and himself from an email account jparks8889 @gmail. That is new information. They didn't redact it when they probably should have. That's when they sent a subpoena over to Google, who owns Gmail. They talk about the nude photo on Twitter, the Twitter preservation order that they didn't really know the Twitter handle. Bad passwords. Pinger came back. WDSPC responded. So this is the same stuff again. Still the bad password stuff. And then the IP addresses. All right. Now we get to, that they were probably in public places, and that's where we learned about Lieutenant David McSweeney. All right, so number 26. On Wednesday, December 17, 2014, I sought and received a search warrant from the Stoughton District Court to search for and seize computer systems and other storage media located at 104 Norton Avenue, number 7, Easton, Massachusetts. On Thursday, December 18, 2014, at approximately 0700 hours, myself, Lieutenant David McSweeney, Sergeant Denise Doherty, Trooper Sheila Kearney, or Carney, depends on which way you pronounce it. I know there's Aiden Carney, who is Turtle Boy, but I know there's also people that go by Kearney in that same area. And officers from Easton Police Department executed the search warrant at blank. After several attempts at knocking at the door, Tiffany Overstreet did answer the door. We identified ourselves as police officers, and Overstreet was advised that we had a search warrant. Officers entered peacefully. Overstreet was given Miranda warnings by Lieutenant McSweeney and told that they were there as part of an investigation into Overstreet allegedly violating a harassment prevention order, which was an HPO, taken out by Robert and Lisa Devine. Overstreet stated that Robert just called her last night and has told her that he went to court and withdrew the HPO. She said that he told her he loved her in that conversation. She said that they have communicated back and forth with one another via phone and email over the past several weeks because he told her that he withdrew the order. Well, the thing is he shouldn't be contacting you. And even if he says he withdrew the order, you don't need to be doing anything until you get word from the court that the order has been withdrawn. Essentially, it looked like, by March, when we read it, they were wanting to stop all this. But here in December, it still hadn't been withdrawn yet. So it wasn't withdrawn until like 3 to 4 months later. Let's see. Overstreet then said that she did not want to talk to officers anymore. She was advised that she was being placed under arrest for the HPO violation. She was transported by Easton PD, marked cruiser to the Easton PD for booking and to wait later transport to Stoughton District Court. During the execution of the search warrant, after Overstreet was arrested and en route to the police department, Lieutenant McSweeney called Robert Devine to advise him of the arrest and the search warrant execution. Lieutenant McSweeney explained to Robert that the subpoena had revealed that communications related to the ongoing harassment had come from Tiffany Overstreet's internet service at blank. According to Lieutenant McSweeney, Devine said that he was floored that the activity was traced back to Overstreet. He said he felt bamboozled as he thought that Overstreet was not the source of the harassment. Why would you think that? After reading all this and knowing all of this stuff, because I got that. I knew it was coming from her. Or was going to lead back to her, but you've been bamboozled? No. Something stinks about that statement. Something is not right about him thinking he was surprised and bamboozled and he thought Overstreet was not the source of the harassment. Then why do you have a harassment prevention order against her if you didn't think she was the source? Okay. He thought that it was instead that someone was setting Overstreet up. Why would you think that? Why would you think that somebody's setting Overstreet up? Are you setting Overstreet up? Are you the one behind all this nonsense? Are you really telling her you love her and that you're dropping this all while all this is going on and she's acting cray cray because you're still in her ear doing a bunch of shit behind the scenes? This is weird. This is weird. He thought eventually records would reveal some other suspect and that Overstreet would be seen as a victim as well. Why, if you thought that Overstreet was going to be a victim too, with you and your wife, why do you have a harassment prevention order against Overstreet if you think that she is a victim too? Why are you so sure about this? This makes me think that this plan, she actually is a victim in this, possibly, that she has been set up. Because if I had a harassment prevention order against somebody and it came back to be that somebody, like I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I thought somebody was setting them up. I'd have been like, yeah, dude, that girl's crazy. This is this is odd. And then they wanted to drop it in March. Okay. So I'm gonna need a lot more info about this because we're missing a lot of information. He admitted that he had been having contact with Overstreet over the past several weeks while the HPO was in effect, and that he did initiate some of the contact, including meeting for dinner at one point to discuss the related incidents. So you've been talking to her. You've been in her ear. You wonder why she's going like blowing all this up because you're sitting here leading her on, stringing her along. You're going to have dinner. You've talked about the incidents, the related incidents, and all these different things that are happening that Norfolk County is wasting their resources on for you and your wife to protect you. But y'all were going to discuss the related incidents at the same time you were floored and bamboozled that she actually was the person behind this. And somebody was setting her up, even though you were going to meet her for dinner to talk about some of the related incidents. That does not make sense. Those two things are in contradiction. He again said that okay, yeah. He again said that he continued to communicate with Overstreet because he felt she was not the source of the harassment. Lieutenant McSweeney said that he reminded Robert that he took out the HPO against her. Yeah, I didn't think she was the source of harassment, but when I filed for a harassment order, I put it against her. Even though I didn't think that she was the source, I just got it against her anyways. Lieutenant McSweeney is probably like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Like, you're not making any sense. I hope that's what McSweeney was saying. Let's get to the last page. Because this took a turn. I'm back to no longer liking Robert Devine. Because this is crazy. Yeah. So he initiated the HPO against Overstreet, and that he, Robert, was initiating much of the communication between him and Overstreet. Robert repeated that Overstreet had him fooled and bamboozled him. No. Was she just deny all this stuff and then you believed her and then you found out she was behind it? Like, what? I don't think so. During the search warrant, some digital communication located on a cell phone identified by Overstreet as belonging to her, Overstreet, were viewed. One message was from username blank. The username is associated with some of the harassing anonymous communications related to this investigation. Officers completed the search warrant executed, seizing several computer devices and cellular phones. All seized items will be returned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office pending further analysis. On December 18, 2014, at approximately 0900 hours, while at the Easton Police Department, Overstreet initiated contact with the officers and stated that she would like to speak with the officers. After going over Miranda warnings again, Sergeant Doherty and I spoke with Overstreet. The interview was videoed and audio recorded. The entire has been memorialized on a DVD. Oh, look, recorded conversations, interviews. The following came from our conversation with Overstreet. During the interview, Overstreet admitted that she continued to have a physical relationship with Robert since the harassment order was issued. She stated they continuously text and email each other. She stated that Robert is usually the one who initiates the contact. She denied any knowledge of spoofing, creating accounts on spoofing websites, sending emails, texts, etc. from the same. Respectfully submitted, Sean Quirk, Massachusetts State Police, MSP, from Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. So maybe Robert, while he was at her house or all these places that these IP addresses and stuff came from when he was with her, maybe he's the one that did it. And that's why he's so shocked and bamboozled and floored and fooled. Because he's playing the victim. It now makes sense as to all of a sudden, him and his wife want to drop the case and don't want to go through with things anymore because Devine has been found out. And I believe this is the part where he got demoted was because of this. Because he was already demoted when the Sandra Birchmore stuff happened. Like, he was deputy chief at the time of the grooming of Sandra Birchmore. Her death, he wasn't. But this is the scandal that got him demoted from deputy chief, I believe, just down to a police officer. But he got to keep his job after pulling all this nonsense and costing Norfolk County DA's office tons of resources and money and making everybody run around and get subpoenas and do all this stuff while he's still carrying out this affair and lying to everybody involved. Like, did he set her up or did she really do this? Because in the beginning, I'm like, yeah, she's like going to burn you to the ground, like burn your house of cards down. But now I'm wondering if it was him doing things all along. And he was doing this to try to show his wife, no, she's just crazy. Like, see, I ended things and she doesn't like it. When his wife at the end of this now finds out once again, he hasn't. He's been continuing this stuff. This story of Robert Devine is absolutely insane. He can't keep his dick in his pants. And this is one of the guys that did things to Sandra Birchmore. He fooled and bamboozled Sandra Birchmore, just like he was fooling everybody else and leading everybody else along, lying to everyone. This is not an honest person. This is not a protect and serve guy. That is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.